Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Wan Watika binti Wandau. My metric number is 085052. Exact interest is calculated using the actual number of days in a year, which is 365 days. Ordinary interest is calculated using 360 days in a year. Ordinary interest usually give a higher interest amount for the lender because the year is assumed to be shorter. The investment starts on the 10th of January 2024 and ends on the 30th of March 2024. January has 21 days remaining. February has 29 days because it is a leap year and March has 30 days. So the exact number of days for this investment is 80 days. The principal is 5,000 ringgit. The interest earned is 150 ringgit. And the time period is 6 months or 0.5 years. Using the simple interest formula I equal PRT, the interest rate is calculated as 6% per annum.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Wanur Sarah Christina. My matrix number is 085375. For this question, we are asked to calculate the future value of 2,500 deposited for 3 years at 8% interest compounded quarterly. P is the principal, which is the money we deposit at the beginning. So here, P is 2,500. Next, the interest rate is 8% per year, but the question says compounded quarterly. Quarterly means 4 times a year. So to find the periodic interest rate, I divide 8% by 4. That gives me 0.08 divided by 4, which equals to 0.02 or 2% per quarter. Next, I calculate n, which is the total number of compounding periods. Since it is compounded 4 times a year for 3 years, n equals 4 times 3, which is 12 periods. Now I substitute all the values into the formula. So it becomes future value equals to 2,500 times 1 plus 0.02 to the power of 12. After calculating this, the final future value is 3,170.60 cents. This means that after 3 years, the 2,500 ringgit investment grows to 3,170 ringgit 60 cents due to compound interest. Okay, so this question asks why an investment with 10% interest compounded monthly gives a better return than 10% compounded annually. First, I need to explain what effective annual rate or EAR means. EAR is the actual interest we earn in 1 year after taking into account how often the interest is added. The more often interest is added, the more money we earn because we earn interest on interest. Now, let's compare both investments. For 10% compounded annually, the interest is added once a year. So the EAR is simply 10%. There is no extra compounding within the year. Next, for 10% compounded monthly, the interest is added 12 times a year. Each month, we earn interest not only on the original amount but also on the interest earned from previous months. To find the EAR, we use this formula. EAR equals 1 plus the interest rate divided by the number of times it's compounded, raised to the power of the number of times minus 1. When we calculate it for monthly compounding, the EAR becomes about 10.47%. So even though both investments say 10%, the monthly compounded investment gives a higher actual return. In conclusion, 10% compounded monthly is better than 10% compounded annually because interest is added more frequently, allowing the money to grow faster.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Aina binti Ayub and my matric number is 084367. For my part, I will present about question 3 in topic 2, which is compound interest. And for question 3, the client wants to have 20,000 in 5 years. The banks offer an interest rate of 6% compound semi-annually. Since we are finding how much needs to be deposited today, we use the present value formula. The formula is PV equals MV divide 1 plus I power N, where FV is 20,000 I is 6% divided by 2, which is 0.03, and n is 5 years multiplied by 2, which equals 10 periods. After calculation, the present value is 14,818.90%. And also for topic 3, which is annuity, for question 1, the client plans to save 200 every month for 2 years in an account that pays 3% interest compound monthly. Since the client makes regular monthly deposits and wants to know the total amount at the end of the saving period, we use the future value of annuity formula. The formula is S equals R bracket 1 plus I power n minus 1 bracket divide I, where R is 200, I is 0.03 divided by 12, which is 0.0025, and n is 24 months. After substituting the values into the formula, the final amount accumulated is 4,944 ringgit. This means that after 2 years, the client will have 4,944 ringgit in total savings. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farhana binti Abdullah. My matric number is 0x4625 and I'm from DHRM2. I'm going to explain how I calculated the monthly payment for small business loan. First, let's understand the question clearly. The business borrow 5,000 ringgit. The amount is the loan, or we call it the principal. The loan must be paid back over 6 months and the payments are equal every month. This means the business will pay the same amount each month, not more, not less. Now, let's talk about the interest rate, because this is the most important part. The question say the interest rate is 12% per year and it is compounded monthly. Because the interest is calculated monthly, we cannot use 12% directly. So we divide 12% by 12 months. When we do that, we get 1% per month. This means the loan increases by 1% every month before the payment is made. Next, I will list out all the important information here. The principal is 5,000 ringgit. The interest rate is 1% per month. Meanwhile, the term for this question is 6 months. To find the monthly payment, we use special loan for formula. You can see it in the slide. This formula help us to calculate how much money needs to pay every month, so that loan including interest is fully paid after 6 months. The formula takes account the principal, the monthly interest and the term. Now, I substitute the values into the formula. I view 5,000 ringgit as the loan amount. I use 1% per month as the interest rate. Next, I will use 6 months as the repayment period. I then calculated the values step by step. After completing the calculation, I finally get the final answer. The monthly payment is 862 ringgit and 74 cents. In conclusion, the business must pay 862 ringgit and 74 cents every month for 6 months to fully repay the 5,000 ringgit loan with interest. That's how I get the answer step by step in a clear and simple way. Thank you. I will explain how I calculated how much of the first month payment goes to interest and how much does it go to the principal. First, this question uses the same loan from question 2. This business borrow 5,000 ringgit and pays 862 ringgit and 74 cents every month. The interest rate is 1% per month. First, we need to understand the outstanding balance. At the first month, the outstanding balance is still 4,000 ringgit because there is no payment hasn't made yet. The step 2, we need to calculate the interest for the first month. Interest is calculated using the outstanding balance. So, we take the outstanding balance of 5,000 ringgit and multiply it by monthly interest rate of 1%. When we do this, we get 50 ringgit. This means 50 ringgit on the first payment is the interest. Step 3, we need to calculate the principal portion. Next, we need to find out how much of the payment goes to the principal. The total monthly payment is 862 ringgit and 74 cents. We subtract interest into 50 ringgit. After subtracting, we get 812 ringgit and 74 cents. This amount that actually reduce the loan balance. So, for the first month, 50 ringgit goes to interest and then 812 ringgit and 74 cents goes to principal. Even though the payment is large, only part only part of it is interest, and the rest of it used to pay the loan itself. Thank you, that's all from me.